As automakers gear up to manufacture electric vehicles on scale, battery technology is at the forefront of the discussion. And what we're seeing is a transition over during the 2020s from the current lithium-ion technology to solid-state batteries. Now, Cecelia L'Ecluse from BloombergNEF has written a study called A Route for Solid-State Battery Adoption in Europe and the US. So we're going to talk to her about that. Welcome to the interview, Cecelia.
Thank you, Markham. Happy to chat with you today.
Well, look, why don't we start with an overview of your study, please?
Sure. So I conducted a study looking at the way solid-state batteries could be adopted by automakers in Europe and US. So we have seen great interest from automakers in solid-state batteries. Almost all major EV makers in Europe and the US have formed some type of development partnership with battery startups like Solid Power and QuantumScape, and also with incumbent battery makers to develop this new technology. So yeah, automakers are very excited about this technology because for them, it promises increased safety, a longer driving range, faster charging times, and eventually also lower battery costs. But there's still a long way to go because so far, no solid-state battery has left the lab yet. So this study modeled adoption scenarios to see how this technology can be adopted in electric vehicles over the coming 2 decades.
Now, what is the difference between solid-state technology and the current lithium-ion technology?
Yeah, so the current generation of lithium-ion batteries that are used in electric cars and in your phone today, those battery cells use a liquid electrolyte and a separator between the cathode and the anode. So essentially the lithium ions flow between the anode and cathode through a liquid. A solid-state battery uses a solid electrolyte instead. This can be a polymer or ceramic material. Different options are being explored at the moment. But what this technology does is 2 important things. So from an automaker's perspective. So first of all, it increases the energy density of the battery cell. So partly because of the electrolyte itself, and partly because you can combine solid electrolytes with new anode materials like lithium metal foil, which is more energy dense than the anode materials used today. So yeah, we estimate that the first generation of solid-state cells would have a higher energy density of around 45%. But a second very important one for automakers is safety. So the organic used in batteries today are flammable, and solid electrolytes are not flammable. So the risk of your batteries catching fire is greatly reduced. And this is like a major headache for automakers today. For example, Hyundai had to recall thousands of EVs in February, replacing all the batteries at a bill of $900 million. So yeah, the increased safety, major.
I'm really interested in the cost curve you've got here. So right now, a 100 kilowatt hour battery pack costs $15,000. Sorry, a solid state battery pack costs $15,000 versus $7,700 for a conventional lithium ion. But the cost curve on that comes down very significantly starting after 2025 and gets down to around $40 by 2032 or so. And that has got, combined with the energy density, the safety, and low cost, that's got to be going to give electric vehicles a huge boost, one would think, in the market.
Yes, sure. So maybe to clarify, the initial cost that we used, we modeled it for 2025, because nowadays no solid-state batteries produced commercially at scale yet. So this is a cost that we expect in 2025 at introduction. But yes, maybe the reason why we expect such a big cost decline is, yeah, initially it will be more expensive because several supply chains need to be established. For lithium metal foil, for the solid electrolytes, it doesn't exist yet today. But once these are in place, we actually think that manufacturing costs of solid-state batteries are cheaper than the ones used today because you can skip several steps. So yes, eventually they will be a lot cheaper than liquid lithium-ion batteries. And essentially we modeled two cost scenarios, and in our conservative cost scenario, we expect cost parity at around 2033, but in our optimistic one, it could be as soon as 2030.
Now, you've noted that Toyota and Volkswagen are kind of leading the parade on this, and other automakers will follow suit. One of the things we've noticed in the last 2, 3, 4 years is the battery technology has advanced quicker than expected. And is there any chance that will happen here with solid state? Because I understand you've got an optimistic development and adoption scenario as well.
Yes, there are several factors that could speed up adoption. And yeah, I think demand from automakers is a very important one. I think, yeah, several automakers have become more optimistic about their timeline of introduction. For example, BMW only announced a few weeks ago that they target 2025 to introduce a prototype. Earlier, they had said like late 2030s. So yes, if they really pull their weight behind wanting to adopt this technology, it could, yeah, really speed up adoption.
Great. Any final thoughts, any insights from the study, Cecelia?
Yes, I think even though we expect the first cars to be on the road in 2025, but mass adoption will come a lot later, we think, because, there's, of course, the cost curve you have to write down. But apart from that, even when cost parity is reached, it's not like automakers will switch overnight using solid-state batteries. They can't do it all at once. Production capacity may be limited, plus validation cycles for new batteries can take several months. So yeah, we expect the first car to drive on the road in 2025, but it's not like everyone will be driving soon. This will be more for the 2020s.
Yeah, you make the point in the study that this is going to follow the path that automakers usually take, which is they put the new technology in the premium brands, and then over time, as costs come down, it filters into the lower cost brands.
Yes, exactly. So in 2025, we expect the first cars will be on the road, but these will be like premium high-end cars, because those type of customers can absorb the extra cost in return for a better driving range, faster charging time, and so on. But yes, mass adoption will only happen once they're cheap enough. And even then, like I said before, you can't just switch your supply chain overnight, so it will still take a few more years.
Well, it's a final question, Cecelia. I had a number of other experts say that expect significant improvements in conventional lithium-ion technology, higher energy density, lower costs, and will that have a dampening effect on the adoption of solid-state technology?
It's true that like a lot of improvements can still be made in the current generation of lithium-ion batteries, but ultimately solid-state batteries are like a big jump and really the next generation. I think another thing that might drive adoption is that you can use new cathode materials, and you could, for example, make them cobalt-free. So there's a lot more at play than just cost and safety, which is also super important. But ultimately, it's, let's say, the end game, I believe, for lithium-ion batteries, and you can't achieve that with current technologies.
Well, let's follow up that just for a moment. There's a lot of talk in North America right now about critical minerals for batteries, and it plays into energy security and supply chain security for North American manufacturers. So are you, I understand from your comment that the solid state technology will use fewer of those critical minerals. Have I got that correct?
It is double. So on the lithium side, they're actually more lithium intense than current lithium-ion batteries. So on the lithium side, they will use more lithium, but yeah, for the cathode active materials and anode materials, there are more options available. So if it comes to critical resources, solid-state batteries have the advantage that you have more options in the face of resource scarcity, except for lithium.
Cecelia, thank you very much for this. Really appreciate your insights.
Thank you very much.